everyone. It's that time of the day when I guess she's tired. And are you in a rush to leave? You still have a few hours. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for such a kind introduction. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much to the Bangalore team for having invited me. Today I'm going to be talking about the data reporting and this is an area that is highly under-researched at the moment, and we are trying to build up some kind of critical mass in research by trying to bring the legal and the economic and the statistical dimension together. So that's what the effort is all on at the moment. Over the next 17-18 minutes, I'll be talking about why is it important to have a reliable database on public procurement? Why is it that statistics actually matter? And soon you will agree with me, yes, we do need statistics. There's an acute deficit of data at the moment, other than countries that are members of the WTO GPA. What are the current practices in data reporting? What kind of challenges we are facing? And what are the policy implications? Why is it that this is so important for policymakers? Now, the importance is actually threefold. First, it's important to have good data on public procurement statistics because procurement accounts for nearly 25%, 10 to 25% of world GDP. Now, having said this, in the EU, this accounts for nearly 19%, and in the UK, 15%. So the amount that is involved in here, the size is huge, which actually makes us think, yes, we do need reliable data. Now, if we look at procurement in developing countries and emerging economies, we find that it is much more than this figure. Now, the second reason why it is important is we need to understand how is it we will compute the total value of procurement in a particular country. Because often this is something that we have not been able to do and with full confidence. It is important to have statistical data because this is one tool that will help countries when they negotiate trade agreements to find sectors in which their firms can enjoy enhanced market access. So it's a tool for market access as well, as well as for governance. So this means that despite increasing importance of data, there is increasing importance of data reporting under the WTO GPA, and we have the eGPA portal. I'll talk about it in a bit. We also have this requirement of reporting data at the bilateral level, but nevertheless, information on public procurement remains very scarce. As a result, there is deficit in data availability, and there is lack of coverage on data for non-GPA parties. There is further, wherever there is data available, it is not uniform and the quality is not very good. And this is a problem that we are facing at this very minute. Hence, it's very important to address this knowledge gap from the policy perspective, because if this information is not made available to trade negotiators, it will not be possible for trade negotiators to go out and negotiate in an informed manner. So there are some initiatives, and I'll just briefly run through those. The first one is by the WTO on procurement market access information resource. Now, this essentially focuses on enhancing transparency and informing parties about the market access opportunities for procurements that are covered under the GPA. So the emphasis is accountability and transparency in this case. And basically, this portal provides us with a useful interface and a very friendly interface by which we could download data. But the issue is that this data is only for parties that are countries that are GPA parties, and not for other countries. There are other efforts as well, and EUTED is a brilliant example of how contracts database has been built up. The US system is also very good. We've got other countries as well, which we are looking at. One is Australia. Australia provides excellent information on databases, but it's only at the central level that we have all good data. For Brazil, we have got CompressNet, and I'll talk about the problems that we have in the next slide. So this means that efforts are ongoing not only at the multilateral level, not only at the WTO level, but also at country level. Now, we can also, there are other initiatives by which you can actually get some information about procurement data. This is looking at the multi-region input-output database. Now, the issue that we face today is that data reporting is either done from a legal and an institutional framework perspective or only from a statistical perspective. The thing is, we have still not been able to fuse and bring these two together. Now, when we talk about the legal framework, the first one that comes to our mind is benchmarking public procurement. And this is an initiative by the World Bank. It's for the 3rd year running that this report has been published yet another time in 2017. It's actually brilliant. What it does is, from a legal perspective, it actually draws on two pillars. One, it looks at the procurement life cycle, so from start to end. And then it also looks at complaints and reporting mechanism. So basically it reports data on 180 countries. This basically informs us about the ability of the private sector to do business with governments. Next data reporting initiative that has been undertaken is by the OECD, and this started off in 2010. And they started talking about the key performance indicators. And this was built on 4 pillars of efficiency, openness and transparency, encouraging professionalism within the procurement service, and ensuring that there was effective contract management and supplier performance. The third legal initiative that has been taken is something called MAPS. This is the market access, this is the methodology for assessing public procurement system. And this was started off by the OECD around the same time. This basically covers 60 countries and it has been in use since 2010. The focus of this reporting is basically looking at baseline indicators and compliance indicators. I won't go much into the details because I know I'll be shown the red card very soon. So the baseline indicators are again very similar, and they are built on 4 pillars again. Now, when it comes to statistical data reporting, we find you can actually report and estimate procurement at an aggregate level or at an individual level. So at an aggregate level, basically it was for the first time in 2012 that the OECD started talking. There was an excellent paper written by Audit, and he said, well, look at national accounts statistics, or you could even look at the World Input-Output database, or you could look at country input-output table. And using this, basically what you would do is, you are expected to get together the components of intermediate consumption, gross fixed capital formation, social transfers and kind, marry them all up, and you will get some kind of procurement figures. Now, but there was a problem. The problem is that this data is all at an aggregate level. And it's another important issue that we need to keep in mind is that you cannot distinguish between procurement which has been done by private companies and what has been done by the public sector. And hence, it is not possible for us to estimate precisely what is the value of procurement at an aggregate level. This then meant, okay, what should be the next step forward? The next step forward was, well, you can actually look at data which has been published on e-procurement portals. So it is, if we are able to get good data, it will be possible to estimate the value of procurement by entities. So this can then be done at a central level, sub-central level, other levels. You can even work out what is the value of procurement by category of procurement, goods, services, construction services. You can even break it up by what kind of procedures have been used. And then, most importantly, the biggest challenge is, how is it that you can get data on supplier participation? Now, if we look at Australia, it is possible to get some kind of information on supplier participation. So now the effort that is ongoing is trying to get data from e-portals and estimate what is the value of procurement. So efforts are on at this point in time. But what is it that impedes our efforts? First, we look at all e-procurement portals and we find that countries have specific reporting procedures and requirements, and they are not all uniform. So we need to start thinking about having international standards on data reporting, because without that, we are unable to compute the total value of procurement. Next, there are countries that just provide information in the national language. Examples, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia. It's impossible to understand what the information is. Also, there are accessibility and download constraints. So take the example of Australia, you can actually download at any point in time only 10,000 contracts and no more. Then data reporting is not uniform. In some countries, it's only the central level data you get. In other countries, you get central and sub-central. So it's hard to actually get all data under one roof. Then the portal functionalities vary between countries. And well, one option that's now in your mind is, well, if it's that much of a problem and getting data is that important, why don't you just go and buy data? But the problem is we do not have reliable data available in the market. So we cannot go out and be very sure that the data we have got is actually complete and it's accurate. So these are the two problems. This then brings me to my last slide. And this makes me conclude that data availability today is a major problem. It is key because this is the last frontier of trade to be liberalized. And if we want to go down the route of procurement liberalization, whether it is at a multilateral level, at a bilateral level, we need to have some kind of reliable statistics to back up the story as to why procurement is being liberalized. So we need to have precise estimation of total procurement, because this is what will help us design an effective negotiating strategy. Because negotiators can, when they go out to negotiate, have to be equipped with the right kind of information and precise information as to what is the size of the sector. Otherwise, it won't make sense to go and negotiate when information is incomplete. However, there are ongoing issues that we continue to face. One is that at a nationwide level, we are unable to get data which is uniform. There are different contracting mechanisms. The WTO GPA has set procedures, procurement procedures, but that is not the case in all other countries. Take the example of Vietnam, where I've been working for the procurement system. They have eight methods of procurement, and it's very hard to map them on to the GPA. For example, they have their international, their open tender, they have open tender and they have international procedure, and both are very different. To my surprise, open method basically applies to the domestic suppliers, and international method applies internationally. And it took me some time to actually get my head around what was the difference between open and international. So, in addition, requirements vary for reporting as well. Say, for example, in one country, take the example of Australia. They say that any contract which has been awarded and is above 10,000 Australian dollars will be put up on house tender. Whereas in Brazil, that's not the case. Each and every procurement contract that has been awarded has to be put up on CompressNet. So there is no uniform reporting systems as well. Now, a major problem one faces is technology. It's a big enabler. But in this case, it does not actually support us because data availability formats are different. In some cases, take the example of Thailand, they have data available only in PDF. Whereas for Australia, you can download in Excel. So formats vary, which then means we now need to start thinking about harmonizing some kind of standards for data reporting on procurement. We also have to start thinking about how is it that the existing data can be enriched? How is it we can match up to be able to identify what is the mode of procurement? I'm not going into the details about mode of procurement, but there are different modes of procurement you could function in a market. Say, you are just a domestic supplier. Next, you could be a subsidiary. And third, you could actually be adding value without being a subsidiary. So there are different modes. This then makes me conclude, well, portals exist. We are grateful to that, for that to all countries. There are initiatives such as open contracting by the World Bank, which is very useful and it provides us data, but the problem is it does not provide us data on all countries. So efforts are ongoing. EC has a project on. The World Bank is doing a lot of work. Plus Asian Development Bank. There are other, and now African Development Bank has become very active as well. But the problem is that gaps do remain, and hence this is a very, very big challenge. Thank you.